Hi, it's Adele from Virtuous Promotions, and we continue with character development, in particular, being practical, very practical. That's all we need to be when we say that we have Jesus living inside of us. You know, when Jesus walked the earth, he was so practical. He wasn't floating on air. He wasn't translating himself from one dimension to the other. And trust me, he could do that. He's God. But he didn't. He was very practical. He lived on the earth. He grew up from a child or to adult. He ate. I'm sure he did everything that a human being would do in terms of all the practical and bodily functions that we have to do. And he did that to say, as much as he is 100% God, he is 100% man as well. And that means that we can be practical Christians. We can live down here on earth amongst others who are not Christians, amongst others who may not believe in our God, but we can still be real. We can still be ourselves and still not compromise as well. That's the thing people think when they're being practical, when they're being real. Will I compromise? Will I as well show all my flaws? And will people really believe me if I'm a Christian, if they knew that I made a mistake here or I did that? You know, if the cat is out of the bag, so be it. If it did come out the bag, no one's saying to you to bear all your secrets to everyone. But one thing we are saying, and one thing I've learned, is that when you are being real with people, they can relate to you. They can relate to people who are real. But if you put a facade and a persona that you are, up on this hilltop of spirituality and never really relate to people on a level that they can understand, then we're not doing ourselves any justice at all, and we lose the witness that God wants for that person to know him. So just like Jesus was, he was so practical. And I think that's why the Pharisees hated him, because they were standoffish. They were in a league of their own. They were elitists. And yet Jesus, who came in the form of man, sat with people that would consider to be, undesirable, so to speak. And so he showed the practical side of living a godly life, the practical side of being amongst people, but yet he wasn't tainted. He wasn't marred or influenced by the behaviors of people that he would have hung around or mixed with. But he was an example. He was an example to them. He was an influencer. And that's what we need to be. Salt of the earth, influencers to others. And when we are being practical, when we are being real with people, when they can see that you hurt as well, that you cry, you have the moments of pain and weakness as well, that they can relate to that. They can say, yeah, I understand how that feels. But then you can show them that as much as you're going through your own realities, you have an answer. And that answer is Jesus. And that Jesus helps you get through your situations. That's the difference. But when we hide every little flaw that we do, every little mistake that we make and so forth, people can't relate to that. They can't relate to what I would consider to be spiritual robots, that, nothing seems to bother them, or nothing seems to, in the face of it, seems to harm them. But that isn't the real life that we live down here on earth. And so we need to be real. We need to be practical. We need to be influencers. And sometimes God will use you and your weaknesses to show to others that he is real to them. And so don't be afraid to be vulnerable amongst others, and let God use it to help him reach out to those who don't know him. So be encouraged. It's okay to be real.